Hello and welcome everyone, this is Calebovitsch coming to you with episode 4 of Drafters. And today we have a special guest, an OG member of Team Rankstar, ThePlatypusKing. Could you tell us a bit about yourself, King?
Well, my username is ThePlatypusKing. You can find me at twitch.tv/ThePlatypusKing. One of the original members of Team Rankstar, as Caleb here said. Love to play card games. I started playing Magic way back in 2010. Started playing it competitively in 2012. Finally top 8'd Modern Grand Prix down in LA in 2016. And then that fall stopped playing Magic because the grind is terrible. And if I'm not playing at the highest competitive level, I don't care to keep up with it. Other than Cube Draft. Cube Draft is the best thing of all time. I love drafting in Magic. I haven't fallen in love with it in Eternal yet. I loved the Dusk Road.
You don't
That was my
say.
favorite draft format. You see, it doesn't matter if I have the best bomb, legendaries, whatever. As soon as I see a Yeti Windflyer, we're shifting gears. Yeti Windflyer. I think I one time had a deck with 6 or 7 Yeti Windflyers.
Ooh,
that was the
my
peak
goodness.
of my Windflying. But yeah, so I've been playing Eternal since basically day 1 of open beta. I didn't know that there was a closed beta, and I forgot the name of the game. I don't know where I saw the game originally. I swear I saw LSV showing it off somewhere. I assume, in my mind, it makes sense that it would have been E3 or something, but I feel like there's no way this game was at E3, ever.
Especially in beta.
Yeah, so, I don't know where I saw it, but the day it, went on Steam, I saw it on Steam, around Thanksgiving, and I saw it, that's that game I was waiting for! Download, then got some of my friends into it.
Okay.
And the rest is history. Been playing it ever since. I took a little bit of a break before Set 2 came out, but really when Dusk Road came out is when I really hit hard. I had to do a lot of catch up. I was missing a lot of legendaries like Sandstorm Titan somehow. But I finally got into it.
Okay.
And just full steam ahead.
Have you played the current draft format in Dark Frontier?
I still have some draft tickets. So I have, but not very much. I have enjoyed it. I did get 7 wins on my second draft.
Cool.
Of the format, so I was still got it.
Oh yeah. Alright, let's dive in. And it might not be a Windflyer, but it is a Yeti. Bam! Sneaky peeky is the rare, and usually when you open the first pack you want to look at the rare or legendary or shiny legendary. So Bam Sneaky Peeky is a forecast primal 3/5. When he attacks, you play a 1/1 Yeti Spy, and you can shift it for 4, and then you transform a card of your choice in the enemy market into a 1/1 Yeti Spy. And while in ranked, this card could be bonkers. I mean, it is a better version of Reign of Frogs, kind of, an anti-market. In draft, opponents usually don't have markets, so we gotta assess this card as just when he attacks, play a 1/1 Yeti Spy, and you can shift it for 4 if you want to attack the opponent with unblockable in a couple of moments. Aside from that, we have Umbran Voidbringer, a 2/2 flying berserk with onslaught, i.e. when you attacked this turn by yourself or one of your units did, or via killer or some other means, you get to draw a unit from your void, which is like Dark Return on flying steroids. We have Peaktop Tracker, a very good scout-based card, who gets +2/+2 permanently each time you scout. So a Blurry Chaser gives it permanent +6/+6. The 1/3, here it is. The 1/3 quick draw, pay 1 to twist, and twist Blurry Chaser to scout. Yeah, so this is a good addition, so these two combo quite well. Retribution is one of the better kill spells, or as I would call it, overkill spells, because it is silence and stun, then kill. Then do some horrible things to the corpse, then dispose of it, then never talk about it again, because it's oh so never happened. Wait, that was Madman. End of season 1, never mind.
I didn't watch Mad Men.
Oh, Probably you didn't miss
Seen
much.
some episodes.
Okay. Svetia's Faithful is a very good basic unit with Warp and Onslaught. Colossal Blade Barrier is a tricky one, but there are a lot of armor synergies in both curated packs and the Dark Frontier packs, and honestly, people have been joking that Direwolf just threw all the armor and spell matter and scout and warp cards from all the first 5 sets into the curated packs, and it sure looks like it. If you go into armor matter, it is a great card, especially if you can produce armor in a fast way, like with Pioneering Aviator, a 2/2 Tinker that gains you an armor each time you play a spell, like a mini Alessi, or bigger Alessi, something like that. You also have stuff like Phase Out or Fend Off, but it is just filler. Castle Curator, Mute are weaker. Insignia, I don't think you should be picking this thing first up. I think you should be focusing on just one color. What cards stand out for you in this pack, King?
I like Umbran Voidbringer, just for the simple fact that it has evasion.
Yes.
You know, you can be bad at a game or not know anything about it, but if you can find cards with evasion, you'll probably do okay in limited formats that way. Or
True.
even in ranked if you're built in a budget deck. So that's like one of the first things. I don't know if the scout deck is a real thing or not, because I am not well versed in this. But if it were, and you wanted to purposely pick a card that was good in that deck, I feel like while Peak Top Trekker probably has the higher ceiling, maybe Blurry Chaser's the pick because it has quick draw. And I've definitely already died to Blurry Chaser a couple of times.
Yes. One of the better red commons, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's
pretty good for a common.
I just wanted to add something to what you said. There are very few scout payoffs aside from you just scouting. A Peak Top Trekker is one of the few, with the other ones being the rare Clawda, the red one that has +1 attack each time you scout, and the very expensive Barracks for 7. There's a relic in red. Each time you scout, create a 4/4 warrior. And that's about it. So if you want to go Scout Matters, Peak Top Trekker is where you want to go, because there are a lot of cards that scout. So for me, for example, it would be Trekker over Blurry Chaser, aside from the fact that Trekker is an uncommon and Blurry Chaser is a common, so you have a higher probability of drawing it. But other than that, okay, so these are Scout Matters, sure. The green cards? Bam?
Of the green cards, yeah, they're not great. Svetia's Faithful or Retribution would be the choices there. I don't feel like those are very solid pick ones.
Okay.
Then there's always Phase Out. It's premium, for the collection.
Yes. You want to rare draft, especially this early in the format. What? I'm not
I feel
kidding.
like Sneaky Peeky probably wouldn't be terrible, but I think the other cards would be probably better.
Okay.
Voidbringer or Peak Top Trekker.
I mean, there is also a fact that you are passing these cards to a certain person, and if you pick Umbran Voidbringer here as the only shadow card, someone will know that you are in shadow, and you probably won't be able to ruin their future picks if they can read packs. Where, for example, if you took Peak Top Trekker and someone said, "Ooh, bam, Sneaky Peeky and an uncommon is missing," he's not picking blue, is he? Okay, so getting back here. So Umbran Voidbringer would be your pick?
I think that would be my pick, yeah.
Sure, I can agree with that. Shadow is also being quite underpicked, from my understanding, and all the abilities here are awesome. So let's go with that. So someone took a rare. What about the other cards?
Yeah, the cards that immediately draw my attention. I mean, first off, I'm looking at the cards that are of the factions that we already have, which is Shadow.
Yes.
And so we have Orc Reclaimer, which is probably not very good in limited. It's more of a build-around ranked card. And then
it is also build-around in draft. Kind of, sort of.
Sure, I could see that. You got the coin, which I hear all the coins are just fine and dandy. But I feel like that'd be more of a filler pickup. Or I already have enough playables, so I'm going to grab one.
Sure.
And then I think the least exciting card of the Shadow cards would be Muck Crawler, just because it's only good if this condition is met.
Yes.
So half the time it's just going to be a 1/1 for 1, which
Sure.
is not exciting.
Yes.
So of the shadow cards, the cards that I like are Angry Prophet and Bandit's Flail. Bandit's Flail is a removal spell.
Mm-hmm.
It's a relic weapon. I mean, it's just a 4-cost for a 3/2 relic weapon. It'll probably kill the one thing, and you'll be done with it.
Yes.
That's fine. Angry Prophet, 2-drops are nice. You want to have a certain amount of 2-drops.
Sure.
And this thing, generally speaking, will always be attacking for at least 2, if it's attacking.
I got a question.
So of the shadow cards,
I got a question. You said you need a certain amount of 2-drops. How many 2-drops? Do you have a number in your head of how many 2-drops you would like to have, for example, in an aggressive deck or in a controlling deck?
I would want a minimum of 4, probably more like 6 if I'm planning on just killing my opponent with units.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. I think for me it would
Somewhere
be
in
more
that
like
range.
5 to 7, but in this format, beggars can be choosers. And sometimes you're down to 13 units and a manufacturer. But, that stuff happens, and you still have 2 Heretics cannons, and you can still go 7/1. So, never mind. Story for another day. Okay, so these were the shadow cards.
Yeah. And then, we have another Retribution and another Phase Out. I don't think we would even look at Furnish.
No. Probably not. I mean, it is.
I got blown out by it already, but I don't think it should have been in their deck.
Okay.
So.
The red ones?
I like. There's Impatient Pyromage, which, hey, it's card advantage, or it's a 2-drop, or it's just a bear, which is fine. Could be nice. And then there's Valkyrie Accuser, which is a giant, well, not giant, but it's a flyer with Aegis. Which is nice, but it's also expensive. It's 7, so probably don't want that. I think we'd be looking at one of the 2-drops, either the Impatient Pyromage or Angry Prophet, or the Bandit's Flail. Depends on if we wanted to just pick a card and stay open, or if we wanted to just pick the best card since we're still early on.
Okay, that's a very good point. I tend to be of the mind that if the cards early on are on a similar power level, you should go with the card in your color so that you focus on one color more. For example, in packs 1 and 4, and you can get your second color usually in packs 2 and 3. See what's open there. Unless you're very lucky and go mono, that is honestly possible in this format. Not very likely, but possible. But these are usually not 7/0 decks. Okay, as for Auric Reclaimer, I think it has good stats. It's a 2/3 for 2, which is Bold Adventurer, or Cold Adventurer, because it's in the curated packs, the Stormtamer operative. It also has a very expensive shift that play a relic weapon with attack and armor equal to the highest attack and highest armor among relic weapons in your void. It is at its best in Argenport armor matters with relic weapons, because remember, if you have a relic weapon in play and gain armor, the relic weapon gains that armor permanently, and then you can reclaim, for example, a 3/7 weapon, a 3/7 Bandit's Flail, and then it improves in value. And I also think that Auric Reclaimer is better than Angry Prophet, especially that you said you liked Bandit's Flail and you can get it. There are also Curator Spears, Iron Hooks, etc., or relic weapons.
There are a lot of relic weapons.
Yes. So for me, it would be Reclaimer over Angry Prophet for sure. Bandit's Flail a bit less, but I also agree that Impatient Pyromage is of a higher power level than Auric Reclaimer. And Stonescar has been one of the better color combinations as I've seen so far. So would you rather go into Fire or stay with Reclaimer?
I think I'd rather just pick the card that's already in our faction.
So that's Reclaimer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what I would do.
Okay.
I think they're of similar enough power level.
Sure. And right now the only shadow card here is Unchecked Aggression, but we can't have that on the video, so calm down. There are a lot of blue cards, but they are not the best. I mean, Camp Surveyor is one of the worst Shift 1 cards. It's a Scaly Gruan pre-buff with Scout and Shift. it's not the worst, especially that blue wants to clog the ground and just attack with flyers. As I've said time and time again, I'm not a great enthusiast of this Dynamancy enthusiast. I mean, it's a very expensive substitute and, well, kind of better than substitute, but still much more expensive, turning opposing units or even your units into 4/2 voracious Phosaurus is not the best, but if you want to pay 4 for that and you still have to block it somehow, I mean, come on, you can get better than that. For example, Gust Rider, a 1/1 flyer. For 1, Onslaught, draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, which means you can keep this in an opening hand with too much power and just filter through your deck. Other than that, Cobalt Coin is one of the better coins, plays an inferiority complex on an opponent's unit. It is also good. You can just splash this coin in a non-blue deck, honestly, and treat it as a colorless, daze-like effect that gives you a permanent power. Sort of, kind of. There are some good green cards here. I mean, decent green cards here as well, and a Rallying Sergeant in red. So this is just a big body top of your curve in an aggressive deck, usually. A 7/4 for 5, that's 1/1 better than Pit Fighter. And Pit Fighter has seen some play in the current format, unfortunately. Auric Lookout has decent stats, but I have been a bit lukewarm on this card, as 2 power units either just kill themselves or do nothing later on in the game when staring down 4/6 corrupted behemoths and such. Flash Grenade is one of the funnier tricks, but don't try this at home, kids. Don't throw your flash grenades at your parents. It's not advisable.
Or do.
I didn't say that, so I'm pointing at you. Twin Sai.
Sometimes you just gotta learn the hard way.
Yeah, but you've been playing a lot of Apex Legends, so you're more accustomed to grenades, I think.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Twin Sai. How to say it? It mostly reminds me of Mithril Mace, a 3/4 relic weapon. It loses 1 armor but gains warp, which is good. It is... At first glance, I thought this and Bandit's Flail were just bad or mediocre cards. I mean, you can get a 2-for-1 with this, but you're killing off cheap units. But then I played an armor matter or relic weapon matter deck, and I was missing out on those. I had 2 of these and 1 Bandit's Flail, and it was not enough for my Soaring Guards and Armor Smiths and Taurite Test Pilots and such. Now, we already have Auric Reclaimer, so we could be looking at going full-on Balaport, Argentport, and go for a relic weapon like Twin Sai. We could go for blue with Cobalt Coin, but Shadow is underpicked and Primal is a little shallow when it comes to colors right now. We could go for Gust Rider, obviously. I'm honestly not sure what I would pick here. I need your help.
Well, I would like to point out this is the 3rd pack in a row with Phase Out. 3 in a row. We could have had 3.
So if any of you has triple Phase Out in your bingo square, you can just cross it off right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the card that I'm immediately drawn to is Twin Sai. You sold me on the Auric Reclaimer, and I think Twin Sai is exactly what we would want. Yeah, I think that the 2 cards that I would even be looking at personally would be Twin Sai and Flash Grenade.
Okay, so sure. We also have a story. So first you play a weapon, then you reclaim it with Auric Reclaimer, then you get Auric Reclaimer back, because if you attack with Relic Weapon also triggers Onslaught. So right now, 3 cards in, we have a plan for the longer game. I agree with Twin Sai, obviously. And we are getting dumped on right now.
Well, clearly it's just an easy fledgling owlet for the collection.
Yes.
It's a premium.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's not a bad card. It's like a 3 out of 10, maybe 2 out of 10, but it is still playable.
It has flying, and you can play it off the top of your deck. So
yes.
It is a card that I all jokes aside, I do actually like it, even if it is only a 1/1. I don't think it's what we're looking for necessarily, but I haven't really given the pack a full look. There's not a lot of stuff There's
No
really
green.
nothing for us in this pack.
No green.
It's based on what we already have drafted. There's a
Obviously.
Blood Nurse.
hmm
You know, there's an Unchecked Aggression. I mean, none of these cards are great. Let's see. Best card in this pack is probably the Granite Coin.
hmm Okay. Well, in my opinion, you could play Granite Coin in a straight-out Argenport deck. Just have it for deal 1 damage, as I said with the blue coin.
Yeah.
There is also, look, Daring Maneuver. It's one of the better tricks in the current format, and we're not set in stone for Twinsai. Remember, someone already took a
Correct.
green card, but it could have been just a legendary, because legendary and rare and 2 uncommons are missing right now. We do not need to set ourselves into these colors. So, I mean, Granite Coin is playable in 100% of decks. So I agree that this is an easier pick than Daring Maneuver. Blood Nurse has been weak unless you can furnish it, or put a Warn Shield on it, or do stuff like that. I mean, if it produces multiple vampires, it is good. Other than that, if it's just for a 1/1, unless you need to trigger Onslaught specifically on turn 2, so that's a lot of if spots and whatnots, and we're not going to pick it, unfortunately. I think it is also Granite Coin, so I agree with that choice. Okay?
Yeah, and I agree with your choice of the backup plan if you're not that card, Daring Maneuver being the other consideration.
Mm-hmm.
But
Sure.
I would go ahead and stick with the Granite Coin, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If we end up going with Fire as one of our colors,
Mm-hmm.
great.
Sure.
We have the coin. It's fine. If we don't, well, hey, it still does the damage.
Okay, so shadow cards in general are a bit underpowered in this format. So we do have some shadow cards, but it's Vizier's Tablet. Don't read the card; you'll just feel sorry for losing time. Direwood Lurker would be good if the shift cost was lower, at most 5, maybe even 4.
Yeah.
But in the current, I think it should be like 6 and 5. Then it would be good. Right now it's borderline unplayable. There is another Granite Coin. Once again, no green cards here. So I mean, it doesn't throw us off of an Argenport plan, because we can just get our Shadow from packs 1 and 4 and get our greens from packs 2 and 3. But we know we won't be getting any good cards, good green cards probably, for the remainder of this pack and for pack number 4, unless we open Last Steel Legion or Seraph or something like that ourselves. So for me, it would be Granite Coin here once again.
Yeah, I like Granite Coin. If we were looking at, I think that the second best card in this pack, or the best card in the pack, if we had drafted a different deck so far, would be Diving Teriax.
Mm-hmm.
6 cost 2/4 flyer, onslaught, deal 2 damage to an enemy.
Yes.
Pretty sweet card.
Mm-hmm. Very
I
controlling.
don't know. Yeah. I like this card, but I don't know. I mean, we've already passed a lot of Primal as it is. So I think I would just take another Granite Coin.
Okay. Well, let's stock up on money. And
Gotta make that paper.
bling bling. Okay. Now it's your turn.
So here we are on what is this pick 6, pack 1. There are no shadow cards.
Mm-hmm.
There's some mediocre cards that are not in our factions, and we have a Twin Sai number 2
Mm-hmm.
or an Emerald Coin in our colors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I like the Emerald Coin very much. And we already have 2 Granite Coins. I think I would probably just take the Twin Sai, looking at the other cards in the pack. I'm not even sure. Like, we have some mediocre removal-ish, combat-ish trick type things. We got Death from Above, we got Hold Under, and Daring Maneuver would be the other cards that I would consider if we were to not take Twin Sai.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all kind of mediocre. I mean, Daring Maneuver, that one's good. The other 2 Primal cards,
This is
hard
a
to
finisher.
say. Like, that's a
maybe.
finisher, yeah. Maybe. Like, I don't think I've played Daring Maneuver yet. Death from Above.
Mm-hmm.
I have played Hold Under, and it was better than I expected it to be.
Okay.
But it's, like, definitely a card that,
People
you have
call
to
it.
have a board presence.
People
for it
call
to
it
be
the
good.
worst Dragon Breath.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good description, I would say. Difference being you actually get to attack. That's why it costs an extra 30 mana, 30 power. So I would just take Twin Side number 2, I think.
Okay. You didn't say anything about Mining Team. What do you think
Mining
about this
Team
card?
exists.
Yes.
It is a 4-cost 2/2, Warp, Summon, Scout, Shift 2. So if you're shifting it on 2, I think it's alright. If you're playing it later, I think it's kind of embarrassing. I guess it's okay if you warped it. But
okay. What if it costs 2 instead of 4? Would it be good?
yeah,
But it does cost 2 instead of 4 because you have the shift.
technically.
So
Yeah, technically.
when you have that realization, it suddenly bursts up from being a 1 out of 10 into being like a 4 out of 10. But it is playable. And I have played with it and I liked it, to be honest. On more than one
Yeah, I
occasion.
think I've played it. And I've played against it for sure.
But I agree, if we go for Twin Side number 2 right now, we should be set in the Armor Matter stuff. And honestly, I like to stock up on relic weapons early on in this deck. I have played a draft recently where I was full on Armor Matters and was just able to pick one Bandit's Flail at the end of pack 4 over a good card. So yeah, I totally agree. Alrighty, once again, no shadow cards and only one green card. Yes, it is green, the Emerald Coin. And people tend to like this one more than me. For me, it is Granite Coin, Cobalt Coin, then Emerald Coin. Some people say Emerald Coin is the best. I mean, it's third best for me, but it is still very good. Horde Duelist if we were into very quick red-based decks, obviously. We also already talked about T-Rex and Owlet. Time cards. This is good only if you play it for Warp, and even then it's not the best. And Temporal Adept. At first I thought this was just garbage tier, but then I saw that there are some Spell Matters cards in the current format, mostly in green, but some of them are also in time. And if you are in Combri Spell Matters, remember this one has also Warp, then your spells have Warp, might have some value, but I haven't tested that hypothesis yet. So for me, just a card on color, and that's it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Sure.
Not much to say about this pack.
Unfortunately. A bit
It's
more.
usually how it goes. The further down the pack you get. Yeah.
Yeah, the worse
So-
the choices are.
Yeah. So in this pack, we have in our colors we have another Blood Nurse, which we're definitely not taking, and then we have a Svetja's Faithful, 2-cost 1/1 with Warp, Onslaught +2/+2. Worst case scenario, if you just warp it and play it as a 1/1 without the Onslaught, hey, at least you're drawing the next card down next turn.
Sure.
Which is fine, not desirable. Hopefully it's a 3/3 for 2. I'm gonna definitely say that is the pick. Alternatively, there's a Elder Meditant. We've seen a couple of these. It's a 4-cost 1/2 with Aegis, pay 3, twist it, draw a card. Pretty cool. Be nice if we could buff up its butt and then just draw a bunch of cards, but a little bit slow and dirty, not great. It needs help to be good.
Yes.
And then, of course, we got Gust Rider, which we talked about in Mining Team as well. But for our deck, I think Svetja's Faithful would be the pick. Gust Rider, pretty good card, but Svetja's Faithful is probably the pick for us.
Yeah, I agree. This is the pick. One thing, though, for example, in cards like Blink Wolf or Fledgling Owlet, if it's on top of your deck mid-game and you have something big to play, you usually want to play that off of Warp, which usually messes up your turn, but at least you're not drawing that. With Svetja's Faithful, this card is a bit different, because sometimes if I'm able to warp it as a 1/1, or I can draw it and later play it as a 2-cost 3/3, this is one of the few ones that I'm not 100% warping as a 1/1. Sometimes I am.
Same.
But this one at least gives us some other options.
Even at its lowest low, I guess the real lowest low would just be casting it from your hand as a 1/1.
Yeah.
But the default lowest low of warping it as a 1/1, worse things could happen.
Sure. Heist is a filler card. The only fortunate thing is that it is cost 1 with Warp. So usually you are able to play it at all times. You just don't want it in your opening hand, but that does not mean this is a good card at all. Castle Curator is just a big butt on the ground, but there are a lot of spells in the format, and you usually tend to be playing a lot of them. So this is not as bad as one might think, especially that people tend not to attack into it and not to trade off with it with their so-called better units, and then you just play a spell, attack with it. They don't want to trade off once again because they don't know how many spells you actually have. And there are stuff like Manufacture, Lingering Influence, Seek Power, so spells you can play instead of units, instead of power. I just mean it's not as bad as you might think. This is filler, this is filler at best. For me it would be Curator over Heist. Even though we have no spells yet.
Yeah, I don't think Heist is great. I think if there was a deck that would want to have it, it would theoretically be ours.
Yes.
Just because we want the weapons to be bigger and stuff like that. But
yes.
Yeah, I think Coastal Curator, even if we didn't have spells, it just being a fatty blocker would probably be good for us.
You're just a fatty blocker.
I would go ahead and take that.
Don't fat shame the Curator.
Hey, I'm fat. I'm fine.
All right. Ooh. This is interesting. This is actually interesting. So, how many coins are too many coins? Especially off-color ones.
That is a great question. That's a great question. And one that you probably have a better answer for. I think we're probably getting close to, if we haven't already met that limit.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're pretty close to that limit. 2, 3. I feel like 2 might be the appropriate amount of off-color coins.
I totally agree. I wanted to say 2 as well. So, Cinder Sprite, I mean, it dies either when it deals damage or at the end of your turn. So this is a worse Infernus, if there were ever such a thing as a worse Infernus. I mean, how bad a card must be to be worse than Infernus?
Infernus is great. We want 7 Infernuses in our opening hand.
Yeah, if it were possible.
Is that too much to ask?
Well, technically, yes. There is also Warfront Missionary, an overstated unit, so to say. So it's a 1/3 for 1. Is it going to be coin number 3 that we're probably not going to play, or Warfront Missionary that is a possible cut?
I think we take the Warfront Missionary just in case everything goes wrong.
And we need early blockers. I mean, it can trigger Svetia's Faithful.
Something.
Yeah, it can trigger Faithful and all those onslaughts. I mean, we have 2, 3, 4, 5 onslaughts already. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I think we take the Missionary, and with the hope of not playing it, but if we do play it, not the worst thing.
So be
Once
it.
again.
Okay, red is coming through. I think this is not a question.
Yeah, I think we just grab the Daring Maneuver. Yeah,
this is worse than Fiery Fissure by far. It costs 1 more. It can't target the opponent's face. And honestly, you usually play it as the last card from your hand, and you're not using the +4 power, so come on. Ooh, interesting.
Twin Sign number 3 is our last pick. The last card in the pack.
Sure. Alrighty. Maybe Twin Sign number 4. Maybe not. Alright. Oh my goodness, what do you think? I mean, you gotta prepare yourself that the curated packs are just strictly worse than the regular Dark Frontier packs. At least that's the general opinion.
And while that might be accurate, in the just very small handful of drafts that I've done, I feel like I've gotten all my good cards out of the curated packs.
Then you're one of the few chosen ones.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just lucky, or maybe I'm just wrong, or I don't have a good memory. Could be any of these things, or all of them.
I mean, I thought it was lucky or good, not lucky or wrong.
Nice. Well, I'm modest sometimes. I mean, I am the best in the world at everything I do, but sometimes I suck. So
I'm the best at the world at being modest.
And don't you forget it. So, okay, quickly scanning the pack. First, look at the rare. It's Flame Belcher, 2 cost 2/2 with a restrictive influence requirement. Just a 2/2 Overwhelm, Infiltrate, Oh, well, and the infiltrate probably more relevant here than it's ever been. It's not very relevant in constructed, but we're not taking that. So we look at the Justice and the Shadow cards. Quickly scanning them, we got Umbran Death Watcher, 3 cost, 1/1, gets +1/+1 for each unit in your void. Probably not what we're looking for. Next up, Valkyrie Bodyguard is a 4 cost, double Justice, 3/4 flyer. Can't attack unless you have armor. Well, we already have several cards that have armor on them, or we are kind of that armors matter type of deck, and that is a card that synergizes with that, and it's a really good flying body. Worst case, it blocks in the air and on the ground. That sounds great to me. Looking at the rest of the cards, we can pick up another basically twin side with Mithril Mace. There's a Curator Spear, 2 cost relic weapon, which will probably always be a 2/1. Maybe we'll get lucky and it'll be a 3/1. So there's that if we wanted something early. And then there's a Sharpen Reflex and a Detain. Sharpen Reflex, pretty good card, decent in it, at least at the worst. Detain, it's fine.
I've seen it played.
It's filler. I have seen it played and I've cried sometimes. Like, here comes my giant berserk guy, you're dead. Oh, I guess I'm dead now. I think this is an easy Valkyrie Bodyguard. That's where
same here.
I'm going.
Same here, but looking at the cards we already have, I mean, fortunately, all the stuff has been in these 3 colors. We picked an early Umbran Voidbringer and Auric Reclaimer, and then there was nothing in Shadow. And Justice was also missing for a couple of packs. Then we got Twinsai last pick, late Emerald Coins, and Svetia's Faithful. Honestly, I don't know what to think about. I think Red was coming through in pack 1, and we might want to think about switching over to Rakano or Stonescar. Probably Rakano. But Valkyrie Bodyguard is good anyway, and Red also has some weapon matter cards like Reforge.
Sure. I think if we were to take a red card from that pack, it would have been Pummel or something. But there weren't a lot of options for red, really, in that pack.
Speaking of which,
there's a pretty good red card in this pack for this general idea strategy. And hey, there's no reason that we can't be 3 faction. But then we have the powerhouse card like Dark Return.
Sure.
And Shadow.
And I mean, these are the only 2 considerations for me. I haven't played Reforge at all. Maybe
I don't know if I've ever played Reforge in Limited.
Same.
I've played it a ton in Ranked and Constructed. A lot. Way more than I probably should have. I mean, Armory, you might be able to tell just from the way our draft is going, coincidentally, but Armory is what got me to fall in love with the game way back in set 1. We're talking like going deep with Treasury Gate and stuff. So.
Ooh. All right. Okay.
But
So
Reforge and Dark Return are the considerations, I would say.
This is more like prophesizing which will be our second color.
I mean, in theory, both are, reasonable splashes.
Yeah, and that is what I wanted to say. Even if we're Argentport and we're playing 2 granite coins, it's just easier to splash Reforge when we have 2 granite coins. But are we really going to pick Reforge over Dark Return? There will be a riot on Reddit. But I mean, here in Poland, it's
a good question.
It's early on a Thursday, so if I check on Reddit, there's probably a riot going there right now.
I just don't go there anymore. They rioted me away last summer.
Oh, I'm sorry for that.
No, it's all good.
So anyway, is it the dark return of the Platypus King to Reddit? Or are we going to reforge this deck into a strange contraption?
Well, here's my 2-part answer. Dark Return is probably the correct choice, but I think Reforge might be the fun choice. / if there were a deck where you would pass Dark Return for a Reforge, this is it. I think we take the Reforge and spice it up. You can never have too many 4-drops. This will be the 4th one, which is really like an 8-drop, because we're not playing until I turn 20.
Yeah. Okay, let's go for the fun route then, and see where this goes. And where it went is a shiny Scorpion Wasp. I think this is a wind gust.
For the collection.
For the collection, once again, for the win. Finally, there's a decent shadow card, but it's a double shadow. It's Extract. Lifesteal, deal 3 damage and Scout. In green, we have Valkyrie Militant, a card that is right now better than previously, because if you play it on 4, then your twin size played as a 3/5, a better Mithril Mace off of Warp. Or just a Mithril Mace. Scavenging Vulture is mediocre at best. It even dies to Boot Knife, and if something dies to Boot Knife, it must be garbage.
Yeah, you don't want to reward your opponent for playing bad cards.
Yeah. I mean, right now for me this is looking more like Rakano than Argentport, honestly. This has a double shadow requirement. This is splashable. This is splashable if we get some fixing, and you can get fixing later on in the current format. I mean, I'm thinking Militant here.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest as well. Yeah, I think it's just an easy Valkyrie Militant. Though, as an aside, not for our deck, Scavenging Vulture might be my new Yeti Windflyer. It's not. But I did have a deck the other day. One of the decks... No, that was not the 4... I don't think that was the 7-win deck. I think that was the 4-win Cry. Maybe it was. I don't know. I had 4 or 5 of these in a deck the other day.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was usually a two power flyer.
Because one of them already died. Okay.
Not always, but yeah, sometimes.
Okay, if we picked Dark Return in the previous pack, I think this would be an easy extract. But right now that we're looking at more of a Arcano deck, I think it is clearly Militant. Yes?
And since it's like up in the air, I would say it's Militant.
Sure.
Just based on that, anyway.
Sure. Okay.
Ooh.
It's another 4-drop.
That's immediately where my... Yeah, like I said, we can never have too many 4-drops. And that's immediately where my eyes went. How good of a removal spell is Fall Short? I don't know I don't know how to gauge this card.
I'm thumbing it down heavily. I mean...
Too conditional.
Yeah, I mean, people usually either say that it is better in the current format than in the previous one. Some people say that in the previous one it was better. For me, it's just straight out, I don't know, 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10. I had this in one of my drafts earlier this week, and an opponent was playing Stone Scar. Each and every cheap unit they played had a battle skill. Even if something comes off of shift and emerges, it gets friggin' unblockable for the turn. I mean, if it hit the shift units, sure. If it hit bombs like someone puts a Heretics Cannon on a unit and attacks, but that gives it friggin' overwhelm. So I'm very low on Fall Short, unfortunately.
Fair enough. That would be how I have defaulted to feeling, but then I've had units killed by it, and people are playing the card. But
Yeah.
I'm also, I was, until recently still in Bronze. Haven't been in Masters in Draft in a long time, because I kind of just stopped playing it last summer. But...
I mean, best case scenario, it kills a Tremor Shocker or something like that. Just a big dumb time unit.
Yeah.
This is where we're going?
I think so. I mean, there's not really anything else in the pack, even if we did pick a different color.
And if the
Like
camera...
that fire card.
If the camera changed angle to being on top of the anvil, it would look something like this. Almost. So, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, for sure. And no green.
No green.
No green whatsoever.
And then mediocre red and fire. Fire and shadow cards are pretty mediocre in this pack.
So if we end up in Rakano, it's Pyrodept. I mean, out of these two colors, it's the only...
2-drop.
Yeah, it is a 2-drop. Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, I think it's that or After Image. Nothing great.
Okay. Another maze. Copperhole Recruit, Direfang Spider, Manufacture, and... Does this card do anything? No, it does not.
No.
Even in Wind Chest and
Well?
set 5 it would have been bad in the Go White
Yeah.
decks. Well...
Spider versus Mace, it looks like.
What about Manufacture? I mean, it does
Tell
clog
me about manufacture.
I mean, manufacture does clog the ground when you can warp it, so it doesn't cost you a card. If you have some, I mean, it's at its best when you have Gust Riders, and you can just discard 2 of those for sure. I mean, we already have a ton of 4-drops, so probably not Copper Hull Recruit. We have 3 twin size, so right now I'm either looking for a cheap weapon like a Curator's Spear to fill it out, or a 4-attack weapon like Ceremonial Mask or Unseen Ghost Blade or something like that. Or, I don't know, Hammer of Authority, was it called? Something like that. The opponent can't play spells on your turn. Some crazy random shit like that. I mean, there is a case for Direfang Spider if we went in this color. But given that I think we're gonna end up in Rakano, I think it's actually Manufacture.
I'm okay with that.
All
Yeah,
right.
I don't feel too strongly about any of these cards. I don't think a
same
4th
here.
Mithril Mace is really that exciting.
No, I don't think so as well. So yeah, Manufacture it is. Ooh. There is a card for us here. And it's
I
not
believe
in
that
dog.
card.
Yes?
I believe that card is Lingering Influence.
Why, yes it is, sir. Why, yes it is. Draw
One
just
color
a
that we
sigil.
definitely are.
Yes, draw just a sigil from your deck and scout. I mean, in the current format where usually you're not. I mean, usually don't look at don't look at the rightmost side of your screen. I mean, in the current format, for me, it's better than Seek Power because you usually don't need fixing, and the scout does matter. Filler, no, we'll get it later. Believe me, this is one of the worst weapons ever. And the other cards are off color. This also triggers stuff like Costal Curator or some other Spell Matter cards that we might get past in the future picks. So let's just not linger here and take the influence. Flickerling?
Flickerling. Yep. Nothing to even consider.
Yeah, I mean, these time cards are okay, and some people that are getting time will be okay with that. I mean, this is generally a very good early drop. This is very good in twist heavy decks, like, well, you can imagine. But for us, it is clearly the Flickerling. Now, this is a weapon I might end up even splashing in Rakano.
Sword of the Free King.
Sword of the Common King.
Yeah. Not the King of the Skies, just here it is.
Okay. Let's go for it.
Yeah, I think we take the improvised club.
Clubberino.
Scheme,
for sure.
So we can find the card that we need.
Yes. Ooh, now this is interesting. Now, Mob Rule also has been commented on as being better than in the previous format. This might be because the removal is lackluster right now, especially when compared to homecoming drafts where you had Annihilate, Death Strike, and things like that. But here, the main thing is that it does count shifted units, and shifting units is usually cheap. So you can usually shift a unit even as early as turn 1, play something on turn 2, then on turn 3 you can even shift another unit and play Mob Rule for 3. So this is really at its best here.
Yeah, I agree. Hey! The luck!
Hello and good luck. Now let's look for Vengeance. I wanted to say something about whether we're going in red or with Shadow. And this, I mean, Flickerling into Improvised Club into Scheme and Mob Rule means that we're back on the Argentport train, but here we have Rise to the Challenge. Oh my goodness, I mean, yeah, we do have those granite coins. We can just splash for Reforge and Daring Maneuver. We go both ways.
We go all the ways here.
Is this good?
Yeah, so I
Is
think
it your fan favorite?
Well, I mean, I allegedly have a column on the website named after this card, so I think it's safe to say that I am a fan of this card in general.
Okay.
I think it's probably what we. I think we take it because if we end up with like a bomb of any kind, well, we can go get it with this card, right? We have to. That makes us have a virtual 2 copies.
Go get it. Go get it.
Exactly. And our deck is pretty lackluster so far, if we're being honest. So we might need that little extra redundancy of being able to find the good stuff when we need it.
Mm-hmm.
Alternatively, if we don't take it, the 2 cards that I'm looking at would be Valkyrie Bodyguard and
Once again?
Seek Power.
Yes.
Seek Power, especially since we're kind of all over the place with the power base. Because we don't know if we're all 3 or if we're just 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll end up getting a Seek Power later, potentially.
Maybe.
It's common.
Yeah. Rise?
I think we take Rise to the Challenge.
I agree. Let's go for the fun stuff, like Rise to the Challenge,
Ooh.
Reforge, Throne Warden, maybe. Oh, look at the pack! Now this
Slam
little fella...
Dunk Throne Warden.
Slam Dunk Throne Warden. It is great stats and you gain 4 armor. I mean, come on. It is brilliant. It is more brilliant than Oni Cave Diver, Valkyrie Militant for sure. There are some weapons in here, like Warn Shield if you shield bash someone for 0. Yeah, let's go with Throne Warden.
Oh my god! And for the collection! Now,
What?
I think we have to take the Throne Warden.
I already have 4 shiny ones. That's amazing.
What? What's wrong with you? Did you craft those? Or did you
No.
just draft them?
Yes.
Oh man. That's
Okie
crazy.
dokie. Now...
And it was worth noting there was a Curator Spear in that last pack, but it's obviously we're taking Throne Warden.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't mind a Curator Spear, just to fill it out.
Okay, so yeah, this looks like a good armory deck. And if we look over here at the faction breakdown, more than half of our picks are Justice, and some Fire, some Shadow. I mean, Pyrodapt is not main deckable if it's in a splash color. Manufacture is not main deckable. I think we're gonna just splash for Rise to the Challenge, Reforge, maybe Daring Maneuver. So I'm picking Pyrodapt away from here so that we can focus on these cards. But right here we have Oni Cave Diver, Backpackers, Machete and Blink Wolf as the good cards. And I mean, even in this format, we're still not doing it.
I was curious. I didn't think so.
No,
but...
there is only one case of going for it, and it is if you go Mono Justice and you need filler. Like I saw on a tweet from a certain Mr. Sunnyvale. And it was very brave of him to include a grit in his mono green deck, but honestly, he did open that 5 Justice Influence Legendary Pack 1 Pick 1, so yeah. That was a hypothesis there. Do we go for Cave Diver? Do we go for Blink Wolf? Do we go for Machete, or is there something I'm missing here?
Do not think that there is something that you're missing. I think we just take the Blink Wolf because of the warp value. I think that beats out Cave Diver, personally.
Sure. I mean, you have relics, you have relic weapons.
We do.
And unfortunately, this is one of the better weapons in the format.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree, we're quite low on units with 11 units. Let's go for Blinky.
Yep, and it's a 2-drop. I mean, so is the Cave Diver, but...
Okay. One case where I might think about picking Fall Short is when it's shiny. Or when it's against, like, literally no good cards whatsoever. Tinker?
Yeah.
Is it any good? Was it any good? Back in the day.
I mean, people keep playing it against me. They have been playing against me for years. I don't think it was ever good. Or right, but... I mean, it's filler, right? At best, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's the Fall Short.
What about Rallying Banner? I mean, people keep asking me why I'm not picking that.
Well, I mean, it kind of feels like a win more card.
It does. It does.
And it's really slow.
And there are no really good go wide cards in the current format. I mean, the best one is Manufacture that we will be dropping. Yeah, let's fall short.
As we definitely are.
I didn't remember this was in the format.
Fangs in the Dark.
Fantastic. But
Well, do we take a Rampager here as filler, or do we take a Detain?
Well, first I was thinking about Detain, but if we scroll down here, we do have some spells that we are going to play, and we are quite low on units with just 16, so I think I'm just fillering up on Rampager here. And just going for let's survive the early game, and then let's win with our big weapons and double throne warden.
Yeah, I like that. How much do you like Coastal Diplomat? I mean, it's just a dorky 1/1. Silence is pretty powerful. I've just never really known how to rate this card in general.
Okay, so I'm generally very low on this card, but someone summed it up very well as a spell. Silence an enemy unit, create a 1/1 token. But if it was a spell, it would trigger all the Spell Matters cards, and it would have been much better. Right now, it's just very, very low for me. I think it's Mob Rule or Flickerling, but given our units, it might be Flickerling. Yeah. I mean, Mob Rule is good if we have a lot of cheap units. And we don't. So for me, it would be Flickerling.
I mean, Flickerling does have flying, so that's the tiebreaker for me.
Sure.
I say Flickerling.
Sure. Ruin has come to this family.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ruin is the pick. There's nothing else in the pack.
Sure.
So.
By the way, if you look at it here, all our cards are in these 3 colors. Haven't picked any Elysian cards whatsoever. Okay, fun fact. Do we go for Iron Hook or Sharpened Reflex here? It's Reflex? I thought it was Reflexes. So you just have one Reflex. Yeah, not your whole Dexterity/Agility.
Yeah, you're just reflexing your one Reflex.
Or refluxing? I don't know. But
Who even knows how words are formed?
I don't know. I mean, my language is one of the more difficult ones, apparently. So.
Yeah, I agree. English is hard.
Hey, I said my native language.
Oh, I didn't hear the word native. I just heard my language, and you're talking, and I could understand you, so.
Yeah, because I was speaking in my mind in my native language and added native there. Okay.
Do you probably do think in your native tongue, and not in English? Yeah.
When I'm recording in English, when I'm streaming, when I was playing in Magic the Gathering GPs in English, I was thinking English all the time. Unfortunately, that messes me up sometimes because I keep forgetting Polish words and keep using English words on a daily basis, and that's really bad. But that's, I think, a topic for another time.
I think that was interesting. Thanks for sharing that information about you and your life. Do we want an Iron Hook or do we want a Sharpened Reflex? That's a great question. Fantastic question. Wish I had an answer. I mean, we probably want another weapon.
Yes.
If it is a dorky thing like Iron Hook.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if we have Valkyrie Militant and we draw an Iron Hook, it's a 2/4. Still. Mm-hmm. So, sure. A card in our colors.
Grab it.
Is better than 2 on the roof. Mob Roll? Sure.
Yeah, I think Mob Roll, yeah.
And first non-win chest card.
An off. Hey, a rare in our colors.
Do you know this one?
I know Minotaur Plate Maker. I've been playing with this card a lot in ranked the last few days.
Oh.
I finally crafted them.
Well, we managed to me and Manted Man managed to open one in Pack 4 Pick 1 as well in the 3rd episode of Drafters. A bit of a spoiler alert there.
Destiny,
yes. It has Destiny for sure. Is it a good card or is it an amazing card?
I think it's 1 out of 1 best card ever.
Okay. Let's talk about the other cards anyway, because that's what we're here for.
Yes.
Headhunter? Head Honcho?
I do not like Headhunter.
Okay. Let's stop it there. Taurite Test Pilot. It's a Minotaur Valkyrie.
I like this card.
Okay, let's talk about something else. No, I mean, Test Pilot is one of the fan favorites of the set, honestly, because it's a Minotaur Valkyrie, because it is a 4/1 flyer that gives you armor over time. So yeah, people are very high on that, and I can agree with
Got
that.
2 relevant tribes. 2.
Yes. Yes, it does.
That's great.
Eviscerate has been a very late pick for me usually. But I mean, we do have double mob rule and a full short. But none of these come even close to Minotaur Platemaker. I mean, it even has double damage, so it's a 4-cost, 4/5, honestly, that just equips weapons on your units. And when you equip weapons on your units, you gain armor. Wait, those are 3/3 actually, etc., etc. So then later on you can even reforge one of these weapons. And these weapons are Crownwatch longswords.
Yeah.
Okay.
And plus, Minotaur Platemaker is a 4-drop, so it beats out Eviscerate just on that alone.
Yeah, it is another, so we are 4-drop tribal. Now, this is the new rise to the challenge. But not really.
Kimmo's Blueprints.
I mean, why are blueprints a green card? Shouldn't it be in primal? It is in the name.
Why do Oni care about weapons? Why is that the tribal identity of Oni? Question. No, I'm just saying, I think it's interesting how this game handles tribal synergies. It's not how you would expect, and it's not how most games do things. And I was just curious, maybe behind the scenes, what caused them to make it to where Onis care about tribal. Or, sorry, Onis care about weapons. Like that new promo that's out right now.
Yeah. And it is one of the things that will probably make me go back into making an Oni tribal deck.
Yeah, I think that the unit that was just spoiled, or the promo, I think it's the card that Aegon's Workshop needs for for Aegon's Workshop to even be playable.
Yes.
So I'm very excited to eventually get these 4 copies.
Yeah, especially
as we are recording it, we're about to be able to get the second copy.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately, they added Oni Patrol, another decent Oni 1-drop in Dark Frontier, so that's great. Okay, this is a card that I haven't been able to pick up, but it is honestly insane. Kill an enemy unit with cost 4 or less.
I feel like I've never even seen this card.
Yeah, I've seen it played against me. Your shifted units gets +2 attack. It's not going to be great in this deck, but I mean...
I literally do not remember this card.
Yeah, but it is a great one.
Okay.
It is a great removal, obviously. We're going to pass on this Blight Smuggler, for sure. It's not in our colors. There are also like Stonescar Outfitter, a decent card, and Nimble Conscript, a great red aggressive card, but it wouldn't find a place in this deck for sure.
Correct.
I think this is actually just Death Ripple? Or do you think Kimmel's Blueprints are...
I think it's Death Ripple. I mean, those are the considerations. I think if our draft had gone a little bit better, we would take the Blueprints. But with where we are, I think we take the Death Ripple.
Okay. Okay, we have some units here at least. Clan Barracks, we're not gonna scout, we didn't go that route. Combustion Brawler is an amazing aggressive red card, but it's double red, so probably not for us. Razor Quill is an amazing unit, has been from day one. We don't have much support for it aside from Minotaur Platemaker giving it +2/+2 or +3/+3. This has been a sleeper card for many people, because spells do matter. It's like a mini LSE with shift. You can shift it out on 2, and then play some stuff like Lingering Influence, Manufacture, Scheme, etc., etc. There is also Blurry Chaser and Warfront Missionary. And I think from all the cheap cards, I mean, we are very heavy on the 4-drops. From the cheap cards, Blurry Chaser is better, but on the other hand, we have to look at our colors right now. We have 8 Fire and 10 Shadow cards. The Fire cards are Blinkwolf, Pyro Adapt, Ruin is out of here, Dustblind is out of here, so Daring Maneuver, Manufacture, Reforge, and Rise to the Challenge with double Granite Coin. And I think red is the splash, and you don't want to be splashing 2-drops. So I think Blurry Chaser is a bit worse here. Now the question is, do we go for the 1-drop once again to stabilize our early game? and then go for stuff like Throne Wardens, Militants, Plate Makers, Voidbringers, and such? Or do we go for Razor Quill and replace like a Coastal Curator? Or do we go for Sorceress? Because it is Shift 2, so we are going to play it on 2. And we do have some cards like Influence, like Mob Rule, like Scheme, etc.
I don't think I like the Spell Strike Sorceress. I'm not sure how much I actually like Razor Quill, but Warfront Missionary is not very exciting.
It is actually a very interesting decision here to be made here. If you look at our early game, it sucks. Plain and simple.
Yes. Understatement.
Of the year.
Yeah, I think we actually do take the Warfront Missionary because we don't have an early game. And while Razor Quill might be better than some of our other 4-drops, we have plenty of those. We have an abundance
of
those.
An overabundance of those. One colorless, one red, one green. When you tap a land for mana, it produces another one and deals 1 damage to you. Enchantment from Invasion? And I haven't played Magic in 10 years.
I just saw they have a new set coming out called Modern Horizons that is legal in the modern format, and they reprinted Squirrel's Nest into it. So Squirrel's Nest will now be a modern card.
Oh my goodness.
Kind of funny.
Anyways, Warfront Missionary?
Yes.
Ooh, interesting decision to be made here. This has been called one of the better green cards in the format. That has Minotaur, Plate Maker, and Steel Legion, the 4/4 Sarah Angel, Flying Endurance.
That card, that card is amazing. The Sarah Angel, love it.
Also, they did well with the artwork there. I mean, it is deserving of the card. Anyway, Relentless Deadshot is a 2/2 lifesteal for 2 that you can pay 3 and twist to stun an enemy unit. If you can support its toughness with things like Minotaur Platemaker, it is even better, obviously. Remember, if you over-twist it and it has 0 health, and you return it from your void with Umbran Voidbringer, it is still 0 health. Steadfast Paladin is a great onslaught enabler, but 1 health is very difficult in a format that just gives you granite coins for free. There's also Streets of Flame here, but I think the consideration is more for which of the 2-drops are we going for.
I would agree, and I would vote for Relentless Deadshot. I mean, even if it just had lifesteal and didn't have the twist ability, I think I would still like it better than the Steadfast Paladin.
Well, it would be like a Cabal Cutthroat.
Yeah. So my vote is Relentless Deadshot.
Yeah, sure. I mean, when I saw this card, I didn't even look at Streets of Flame or Tantrum. With Tantrum being a very interesting card, like a mini Obliterate, because then it deals 4 damage with Overwhelm.
Huh.
But Deadshot, for sure. Now, okay, we already have 2 Warfront Missionaries, so Svetia's Faithful now has a better meaning, so to say. We already have 3 coins, so that's a bit on the higher side.
Yeah.
Do we just slam it?
Yeah, we just take Svetia's Faithful here. I mean, it will hopefully be a 3/3 for 2, and maybe we'll even be able to do it kind of reliably on turn 2.
Kind of, sort
I
of.
would say reliably, but more than most decks,
Okay.
which is to say more than not at all.
Okay. Now, do we go for the
Boot
relic
knife.
weapon that should not be?
Definitely not the boot knife. Oh my god. I can't believe that card even exists. Like, why?
I mean, it is like a worse granite coin.
Yes, agreed.
Much worse.
So, I guess we're probably looking at Twin Side number 20 or Streets of Flame. What does Ruin's Guide do?
Ruin's Guide, when one of your units emerges, Ruin Guides gets plus attack and health this turn equal to that unit's attack and health.
Gotcha. It's a 2/2 for 2 with no text.
Ruins Guide is, I mean, it is at its best with nimble conscripts, the shift 1 3/4s with reckless, obviously. Obviously. I mean, when that emerges, you attack with for 3 with that and for 5 with Ruins Guide. I mean, it's one of the better and faster fire openers. But fire is not the main color here, remember. But it is a splash, and I'm honestly thinking Streets of Flame, because I remember back in set 5 I had a very controlling, like a Genev deck or something like that, and I didn't have any early drops. But I did have 3 Conflagrates, which is cost 2, deal 3 damage. And I just thought of them as being 2 drops, because a 2-drop is to battle your opponent's 2-drop. And that's what it did. So Streets of Flame here is a 3-drop that just kills an opponent's 3-drop or 2-drop and scouts. So I would go for that. The other consideration could be Blood Nurse, just because you want to trigger your Faithfuls. And you have Plate Maker and you have that coin, those coins. But I think Streets of Flame is just far, far ahead.
I agree. I think, like you said, I think Blood Nurse would be more considerable now, but still not good enough. Well, compared to the other card.
Okay, so our armory consists of an Iron Hook, 3 Twin Size, and an Improvised Club, with a Rise to the Challenge to look for one of these as well, and a Reforge to get it back later on.
And bigger.
And bigger. Okay. So, how many relic weapons are we willing to play? I mean, are we playing, for example, a 4th Twin Sai instead of an Improvised Club? Or do we keep that one Improvised Club and go for a very controlling deck?
I feel like I would be leaning towards keeping it all and going for the controlling deck.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to win on the back of the relic weapons and all the card advantage that they will hopefully provide.
Okay. So is it Twin Sai or is it a splashed daring maneuver?
I think it's a Twin Sai.
Okay, sure. I can agree. Hello.
There's another Streets of Flame.
Excuse me, sir, you are on fire. Oh no, you're just very hot.
My e-wrestling name in the 5th grade was The Heatwave. So you are correct. You know, because Steve Austin was famous at that time and he had a number, 316. Well, I had a number 2, 370 degrees. You know, so.
All right.
Ooh.
Shiny Chaser. Well, I mean, Char is here as well.
Char.
Yeah, I mean, now we're 3-color control, and that's it. Any of these?
Take the Teriax, because it's the best.
Okay. Take the Owlet, because it's cool.
Yes.
Murder as Flock. I mean, I think there's a wordplay in there.
There was a Magic card a few years back. I think it was in Innistrad. It was called Murder of Crows.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought a bunch of boxes of that set. And one day, I got one of these bulk commons or uncommons or whatever it was out of the box, went to my friend's work, and put it under his windshield wiper upside down to flip him the bird. That's what that card reminded me of.
Okay.
Fun facts with the Platypus King. Or mundane facts.
All right. Let's construct the deck. So we have... Don't worry, I'll help you. I mean, sure, we're in Justice. That's a fact. 4 power cards, 38 non-power cards, so we have a lot of cuts to make. What do you think about the power base? Base.
Well, we probably want at least 18 in this deck. This deck might even want 19, but probably at least 18.
We have
the base.
We have Lingering Influence, so we might go for 18 and Lingering Influence.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
I mean, we are very heavy with a lot of 5-drops. With an 8-drops, with replaying cards of Rise to the Challenge, Reforge, Umbran Voidbringer, we have using this. Okay, so we have to cut down from these. Okay, I will take these out for now so that the count here is... The count is more precise. Uh,
My grandpa was named Elmo.
Ooh, nice to know.
Yeah. Sesame Street.
Now, I'm thinking of these two. I think these are the first cuts, because fire is going to be the splashier splash.
Yeah, definitely the Pyre Adept. Maybe the Blink Wolf makes the cut just because of the warp, but it probably gets cut as well.
I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 2-drops aside from that, and we can count these 1-drops as like 2-drops, like a Scaly Grunge, stuff like that. I mean,
Sure.
If we are very heavy into attachments and looking for cards, etc., I think we can go lower than 18 units for sure. So I'm thinking of cutting stuff like Rampager and Blink Wolf and maybe even Coastal Curator, because we're very heavy on force.
Yeah, I could agree with all that. I would cut those cards.
And we have a lot of cards to cut.
And I was thinking about whether or not we actually want the Umbran Voidbringer since it's double shadow. I mean, it's a lot of value with the Onslaught, and it's a good unit. And it's great.
I mean,
synergy with
both
Platemaker and
Improvised
stuff,
Club and Voidbringer are very late game cards usually.
That's a reasonable counter argument for sure.
So this, even if we count it as a 5-drop, it's still good. Honestly, it should have been a 5-drop, don't you think? Flying Berserk, draw a unit from your
Flying
void.
Berserk. Yeah, I mean, it's a very good card.
Okay.
I think we could definitely cut the Coastal Curator that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. And go lower on the units right now. And Manufacturer is also a unit, but I think it's just get out of here.
Get him out of here.
Get him out of here. Okay, we have 6 red cards. Char, Daring Maneuver, Double Streets of Flame, Reforge, and Rise to the Challenge. And I want to keep both Rise to the Challenge and Reforge for sure, because they're just so much fun. Both Streets of Flame also. And I think I would like to keep the Char, but Daring Maneuver would be the cut.
I was already thinking, before you went through all those fire cards, that I would like to cut Daring Maneuver as well.
Okay.
I was also thinking about maybe we cut Fall Short.
Fall Short? Yeah, sure. I can agree with that.
It's pretty medium, and I think we've gotten better removal since then.
I gotta ask a question then. Do we cut Fall Short or do we cut Mob Rules? We're not that heavy on units. You know, we only have 15 units total. We are getting some of them back with... I mean, one of them back with Voidbringer. Other than that...
That is a good point.
So, 32. We still have to cut 5 things. Do we cut one of the attachments? Do we cut some of the spells? I mean, in theory, we could cut one of the units, but I don't like doing that. And we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 potential removals. I think we can get rid of Scheme. Because...
That's fine.
Yeah. I would like to keep Reforge. I think Rise to the Challenge is in place of one of the size.
I think that would be okay.
And we still have 30 cards. And we still have to cut 3.
I think I'm sold on cutting both Mob Rules.
I was thinking on
probably.
cutting a Char, a Mob Rule, and something else. Because Char, remember, is in the splash color. So Char, and I mean, usually Granite Coins work as well here. One of the Mob Rules, and... Is it 17 power and Lingering Influence? I mean, look at the curve. The curve is like almost like a plateau.
Yeah, it's something special there.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like we want the 18th power, but I could be sold on being greedy with the 17 power and influence.
Do we have scouts, or do we have a lot of scouts? I don't think we do. I think we have just 1 on Lingering Influence and 2 on Streets of Flame. Also, we're running 3 colors with not a lot of fixing, so yeah, I think we should go for 18. Now, the question is, what do we cut? This graph shows we should cut a 4-drop, but I'm not that sold on it. I also don't want to cut Iron Hook, because we have, what? Double Throne Warden, Militant... Honestly, that's it, but and Reforge and Rise to the Challenge. But still, that's good on its own.
Kind of the game plan.
Yeah. I don't want to cut any of the missionaries. They will have a great role to play and get killed. I think it's Marble or Fall Short. I mean, our weapons also count as removal, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, they for sure.
Now, the question is, okay, we have twin size. Twin size remove small things. What removes big things? Fall Short or Mob Rule? I think more often than not, it's Fall Short. Like the Tremor Shockers, like the big units that, for example, have Warp but don't have any other battle skills. I mean, any battle skills, because Warp is not a battle skill. Also, Direwolf, please make a big distinction inside the game of what is a battle skill and what is not, please. For example, on Lifesteal, there on the pop-up, there is an explanation, but it doesn't say that Lifesteal is a battle skill while Twist and Stun are not. I mean, Stun is just a state, and Twist is a skill but not a battle skill, etc., etc. For example, this has Warp and Onslaught. Both are bolded out, but none of these are battle skills. And just a small thought.
I agree with that. That is a thing that I would also like.
Thank you. So, getting back to that, Twin Size and Streets of Flame can take care of smaller units. So Mob Rule, I think, is out and Fall Short stays in.
I agree with that. That's what I was thinking.
Okay, let's get back to the power. And go for these 4 and see what we have here. So let's go through the splash colors first off. First up, 5 fire sources for 4 fire cards. This is on the lower side, but I think that is necessary for us to be able to play Streets of Flame early on as a 3-drop potentially. 7, 8, 9, 9 Justice, with Lingering Influence giving us the 2nd Justice for things like Twin Scythe, Throne Warden, Valkyrie Bodyguard, Minotaur Platemaker. And Shadow, it is 4, 5, and that's it. 5 for 6 Shadow cards.
Low.
Yeah, it's 5 Fire, 5 Shadow, 9 Justice.
And we have 2, even though they're late game, we have 2 double Shadow cards.
1 double Shadow card. This is
okay.
single Shadow, it is just very expensive.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So, I mean, this power base is not the worst. I mean, we want to play this on 6, usually, not on 2, unless we have 2. Flickerlings and Streets of Flame are both 3 drops, but other than that, I mean, Reforge is for later in the game. Rise to the Challenge could be played later in the game. Get us that improvised club as an 8/6 or even bigger. Bigger than Sword of the Sky King. Only on TeamRankstar.com.
You heard it here first.
And last.
And never again.
Yes. Honestly, given that we have those 2 Warfront Missionaries and Svetia's Faithful as the backup aggro plan, I think we should keep as many Justice Sigils and that seed as we have here. And while this power base could use a bit more love, I think this is where we need to end up. I mean, we have that beautiful redraw mechanic? Redraw effect that we get between 2 and 4 power. So it is more likely for us to get something better. Our color requirements are double Justice, single Fire, and mostly single Shadow, with just 1 card being double Shadow. So it's not the highest. We are running 18 power sources and a Lingering Influence. I think this deck looks good overall.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. So, closing thoughts on this portion. What do you think will be the results? What is your prediction, King?
4-3.
My liege. 4-3. Just right off the bat, no second guessing. 4-3.
4-3,
Okay.
maybe 5-3 or better since it's you playing the games.
Thank you. I mean, for me, it will depend on the draws. It will be very heavy draw dependent.
For sure.
If we have like 4 power in the opening hand and we have a 1 or a 2 drop, we should be good generally. I mean, one of the proactive 2-drops, not the Svetia's Faithfuls, unless we have Warfront Missionaries. Or if the opponent just has an amazing starter. I think this has the potential of going 7 wins, but we would have to get really, really good draws. That's the caveat. I mean, we have some early interaction on turn 3, some removals on turn 3, but we cut like 2 mob rules and a char already. But we do have a lot of weapons, so yeah, this is a controlling deck. For sure, we have a good plan for later in the game with, I mean, double Throne Warden. Come on.
Throne Warden is pretty good. That's going to carry us.
That's like the crate drop in the old Worms games. A gift from heavens. Alright, so you're saying 4 or 5. I will be optimistic and say 5 at least, with the caveat that we can get shifted on by the game.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, either way, this should be a fun deck to play. Nice, slow and dirtly with some nice grindy elements to it.
I'm
all for it.
Let's do the dirtle.
Boom.